Good morning. My name is Dan Scripps, Chair of the Michigan Public Service Commission, and I call this meeting of the Commission to order on July 26, 2023 at 10:30 a.m. 10:34 a.m. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Chair Scripps.
Present.
Commissioner Peretick.
Present.
Commissioner Carrion. Present. Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Today's meeting is being held in person at the Commission's office at 7109 West Saginaw Highway here in Lansing. We are also hosting this meeting remotely using Microsoft Teams, which is compatible with all browsers except Safari. Telephone relay service is available through the phone option. If you are participating via Microsoft Teams, you may also turn on the live captions by clicking on the More button at the top right of your Teams window, then clicking on Language and Speech from the drop-down menu, and finally clicking on Turn on Live Captions. As indicated in the notice for today's meeting, if we lose the remote connection, the Commission will not recess. The meeting will be recorded and available for future reference on the Commission's website. In addition, the Commissioners can receive comments at mpsc_commissioners@michigan.gov. For reference, this email is also included in today's meeting notice. We will have an opportunity for the public to make comments as provided for in the agenda. A few notes about this. Comments are limited to 3 minutes and one per person. If you would like to make verbal comments, you must do so in person or remotely through Microsoft Teams or by calling into the meeting by phone. For individuals attending in person and who want to make a verbal comment, please fill out a comment card. Comment cards are available at the front table near the podium. For individuals participating remotely by Microsoft Teams and who want to make a verbal comment, you may click on the Raise Hand button at any time to be queued up for comment. For individuals participating remotely by phone and who want to make a verbal comment, you may press *5 at any time to be queued up for comment. And public commenters on both Microsoft Teams and on the phone are added to the same speaker queue and will be called upon in the order they enter the speaker queue. Please do not lower your hand or press *5 again, or you will be removed from the queue and lose your place in line. And finally, to minimize disruptions, attendees participating by Microsoft Teams or by phone will be muted until we reach the time for public comment. Before we begin today's business meeting, I want to welcome Commissioner Alessandra Carrion, who is participating in her first meeting as a commissioner. Her appointment to the commission was effective this past Monday, and she brings a wealth of both expertise and experience in the energy transition. And speaking for both myself and for Commissioner Peretick, we are very excited to welcome you and look forward to working with you in these exciting times. Commissioner Carrion?
Thank you, Chair Scripps.
It does not seem to be working. You might want to share a mic.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you, Chair Scripps. I'm very happy and grateful for the opportunity to serve through the Commission. Prior to my appointment, I worked at RMI, an NGO focused on the clean energy transition, where I led projects on equitable transportation electrification, including accelerating accessible and affordable EVs and charging infrastructure, and launched an initiative to promote circular EV battery value chains. Before RMI, I spent many years at Ford Motor Company in global sustainability and responsible raw material sourcing roles. I majored in chemical engineering and received my MBA from Michigan Ross. I live in Detroit with my family and really look forward to working with you and the full Commission in advancing our mission.
Thank you, Commissioner Carrion. I think this is the first time that any commission chair has been able to say, I'm surrounded by engineers, both at the staff level and among my colleagues, and we're very excited to have you here. In addition, I also want to acknowledge the presence of some special guests from the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, including Chairman Sanusi Garba, Commissioner Aisha Mahmood, Commissioner Nathan Shati, Commissioner Chidi Ike, the General Manager of NERC, Dr. Usman Abba Arabi, and the Commission Secretary, Ada Uzamena. Apologies. We're thrilled to have you here. We have a special relationship with the Nigerian regulators, going back to our former Chairman Isiagu, and who has spent a fair amount of time in Nigeria, in Abuja, but also we learned today that both Commissioner Mahmood and Ms. Azumena also did internships here at the Michigan Public Service Commission back in the 2010 timeframe. So if our friends and colleagues from the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission could stand, we wanted to officially welcome you to Lansing and to Michigan. The first order of business today is the approval of the agenda for today's meeting.
I move for the approval of the agenda for today's commission meeting.
I second the motion.
We'll just do this. Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve today's agenda. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries by unanimous vote. The agenda is approved. The next item of business on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the July 7, 2023 Commission meeting.
I move for the approval of the minutes from the July 7th, 2023 Commission meeting.
I second the motion. Sorry.
No.
Is there any discussion? We'll now have a vote on the motion to approve the minutes from the July 7, 2023 Commission meeting. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Commissioner Carrion?
Yes, sorry.
Sorry.
I abstain. I wasn't present at the July 7, 2023 meeting.
Perfect. Thank you. The motion carries by unanimous vote of the two commissioners present at the meeting. The commission meeting minutes of July 7, 2023 are approved. The next item of business on the agenda is the approval of orders and minute actions on the consent agenda. And today, the commission is ably assisted by Staff Attorney Blair Renfro. I recognize Mr. Renfro.
Hi, good morning. Today's consent agenda consists of 3 communications matters, 6 electric matters, and 1 gas matter. The proposed orders and minute actions for these matters have been thoroughly vetted by the Commission's technical and legal staff and are ready for your approval.
I move for the approval of the orders and minute actions on the consent agenda.
I second the motion. Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the orders and minute actions on the consent agenda. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Commissioner Carrion?
I abstain. Having just been appointed to the commission, I'm not sufficiently familiar with the matter to make an informed decision, so I intend to abstain from the remaining proposed orders on today's agenda.
Perfect. The motion carries by a unanimous vote of 2 commissioners. The orders and minute actions on the consent agenda are approved. I recognize Mr. Renfro.
Item 4A1 is case number U-21449, which involves an application filed by Cincinnati Bell Extended Territories, LLC, DBA Alta Fiber Connected Services, for a temporary license to provide basic local exchange service. The order before you grants the license.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21449.
I second the motion. Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Commissioner Carrion?
I abstain.
The motion carries by unanimous vote of the 2 commissioners. The order in case number U-21449 is approved. I recognize Mr. Renfro.
Item 4B1 is case number U-17377, which involves implementation of the provisions of Public Act 95 of 2013. The order before you adopts the funding factor for the Low Income Energy Assistance Fund for 2023 through 2024.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-17377.
I second the motion. Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Commissioner Carrion?
I abstain.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of 2 commissioners. The order in case number U-17377 is approved. I recognize Mr. Renfro.
Item 4B2 is case number U-21193, which involves an application filed by DTE Electric Company requesting approval of its integrated resource plan pursuant to MCL 460.6T. Staff member Megan Koliopoulos will describe this order.
Good morning, Chair Scripps and Commissioners Peretick and Carrion. My name is Megan Koliopoulos, and I'm an analyst in the Resource Optimization and Certification section in the Energy Resources Division. On November 3rd, 2022, DTE Electric filed an application requesting approval of the company's Integrated Resource Plan, or IRP, pursuant to Section 6T of the 2016 Public Act 341. An IRP is a roadmap of how an electric utility plans to meet the future electricity needs of its customers in a cost-effective and reliable manner up to 20 years into the future. An IRP addresses issues such as the utility's expected customer demand, the retirement of current generation resources, the amount of anticipated or planned new generation resources, and the timing of building or acquiring the new resources. An IRP also addresses programs that help customers reduce energy waste, which can impact utility bills, electric reliability, and the environment in the short term and well into the future. In this case, there were 28 parties total, 26 interveners, the Commission staff, and DTE Energy. On July 12, 2023, the company entered into a settlement agreement in which 13 parties signed on and 5 parties filed a statement of non-objection. The parties that signed include DTE Electric, the staff, the Attorney General, Natural Resource Defense Council, Sierra Club, Michigan Energy Innovation Business Council, Institute for Energy Innovation, Advanced Energy Economy, Clean Grid Alliance, Solidarity, We Want Green 2, Ecology Center, Inc., Environmental Law and Policy Center of the Midwest, Union of Concerned Scientists, Vote Solar, Great Lakes Renewable Energy Association, Michigan Public Power Agency, Small Business Association of Michigan, ITC, the American Federation of Labor and Congress of Industrial Organizations, and Sea Power. The parties that filed the statement of non-objection include Citizens Utility Board of Michigan, Michigan Environmental Council, Energy Michigan, Wolverine, and the Associate of Business Advocating Tariff Equity. The Commission has reviewed DTE Electric Company's IRP and finds that it is in the public interest and approves the settlement agreement. The order before you approves the following as part of the settlement agreement. The commitment to convert Bell River Power Plant from coal to gas with pre-approval of $125 million. The commitment to retire the Monroe Power Plant with units 3 and 4 retiring on or before December 31st, 2028, and 1 and 2 retiring on or before December 31st, 2032. The agreement that DTE will securitize a total of $1.45 billion, consisting of the Bell River coal handling asset and a portion of the net book value of the company's Monroe Power Plant. The parties further agree that the remaining NBV of Monroe as of December 31st, 2024 will be recovered through a regulatory asset with a return on equity that will be set at 9%, amortized over 15 years beginning upon the issuance of an order in the company's next rate case. The commitment to create a regulatory liability to track the costs for the retired unit that are included in the base rates but no longer being incurred by the company, where any liability shall be used to reduce the regulatory asset from Monroe from the date of retirement of each Monroe unit to the date the company's base rates are next reset after that retirement date. The commitment that if state or federal funding becomes available for coal-fired power plants that will offset the remaining net book value of the plants or aid in their decommissioning, the company will review all such opportunities in good faith. The commitment to target a 2% energy waste reduction savings level from 2023 through 2027. The agreement to allocate a minimum of $43.8 million to income qualified electric EWR programs in 2024 and a minimum of $53.8 million in 2025, as proposed in the 2024-2025 EWR plan case number U-21322 filed June 29, 2023, from the total dollars that would be needed to achieve the EWR saving levels. DTE Electric will allocate a minimum of $53.8 million in 2026 and 2027 from the total dollars that would be needed to achieve the EWR savings levels. The agreement that it will collaborate with state and other partners on the implementation of state and federal funded EWR programs, including the Federal Homeowner Managing Energy Savings Rebate Program and other Infrastructure Investments and Jobs Act/IRA funding. The agreement that in acquiring renewable and storage resources, the company will comply with the Commission's competitive procurement guidelines for rate-regulated electric utilities via use of an independent monitor with expanded duties as specified in the settlement agreement, and will continue to provide the criteria scorecard utilized for each RFP to potential developers that sign a non-disclosure agreement. The commitment to host a one-time meeting with the parties and interested developers to discuss the RFP, provide a general overview of the solicitation process, and solicit feedback. The agreement that DTE Electric will earn a financial compensation mechanism on all eligible PPAs for new non-carbon emitting resources approved as part of this settlement if the company procures at least 50% of its capacity additions in nameplate capacity through PPAs as calculated using a 3-year rolling average. The commitment to develop an additional 400 megawatts of renewable energy projects to 2026 or 2027 from 2032 as proposed in the PACA. The commitment to develop 780 megawatts of storage by 2028. The agreement to voluntarily increase the distributed generation cap to 6% of its average in-state peak load for the preceding 5 calendar years. The agreement that DTE has no PURPA capacity need until the issuance of an order in the company's next IRP. The commitment to retire the 11 megawatt River Rouge peakers and 5 megawatt St. Clair diesel peaker in 2024. The commitment to increase demand response to 906 megawatts by 2027 and competitively bid 150 megawatts of new demand response by the 2027-2028 planning year. The commitment to continue DTE's ongoing collaboration with ITC to facilitate the provision of needed distribution system data to support system planning and operation of ITC's bulk electric system. The commitment to donate $38 million for bill assistance and to organizations that assist Michigan low-income customers with the installation of energy efficiency improvements, renewable energy, or battery technology, including necessary home repairs to facilitate the installations. The commitment to provide an annual public disclosure on the DTE Energy website by October 1st for the prior year ending in August 31st. The commitment to develop an outreach and engagement plan for its next IRP specific to overburdened communities, as that term is defined in the October 27th, 2022 order in case number U-18461. The commitment to undertake the following actions in its next IRP. Study retirement dates of 2030 and 2032 for Monroe Units 1 and 2. Study technology replacement and model sensitivities for Monroe Units 1 and 2. Model MISO seasonal construct. Refine storage modeling and continue to incorporate best practices. Include a natural gas conversion study for Monroe. Study a range of levels for EWR after 2028. Consider the impact on future capacity needs resulting from implementation of the 2 projects listed in the 2019 Michigan Capacity Import-Export Limit Expansion Study and other similar long-term transmission feasibility studies reviewed by MISO. Provide an updated peaker analysis that includes a study of the potential retirement dates, replacement cost of capacity, and other peaker functionality, non-wire alternatives, and the impacts of peakers located near environmental justice communities on those communities. Conduct a cold winter weather year loss of load profile analysis, including an assessment of expected unserved energy and consideration of the risk of natural gas supply and renewable power supply issues coincident with the time extreme cold weather occurs. Develop reasonable projections for the DR pilot programs that are likely to be adopted as ongoing programs and include those projections in the IRP analysis. Include electric vehicle managed charging and vehicle grid integration as DR options. Include an environmental justice agenda topic in the technical workshop for feedback, discussion, and recommendation on the approach to the environmental justice analysis, including but not limited to the threshold and indicators used in the marginal public health impact assessment. Include the results of an environmental justice analysis for Michigan across various portfolios and the development of criteria for use in the risk assessment process. Finally, the commitment to update its global prioritization model to include environmental justice considerations in its next distribution grid plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Kiliopoulos. I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21193.
I second the motion. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I would just like to thank first of all Ms. Kiliopoulos for the thorough presentation, and thank our staff at the MPSC, DTE Electric, and the wide variety of organizations that intervened in this important integrated resource plan and came to this uncontested settlement agreement. As you can tell, there's a lot to this settlement agreement, and the importance of our integrated resource plans in the state of Michigan cannot be understated. DTE Electric provides electricity to 2.3 million customers in Michigan, and this settlement agreement determines the long-range forecast for ensuring that we have enough and the right resources over the next 20 years. It's hard to look that far into the future, and I think it's important to have all of these varied voices representing so many interests and populations throughout the state represented in this settlement agreement that determines the future of our energy sources.
Thank you, Commissioner Paratek. I want to add my thanks and a few comments as well, and echo your remarks here. In considering the settlement agreement and the order that's in front of us, I went back to the last IRP from DTE Electric Company, which in February 2020, we recommended a series of changes, and in April 2020, ultimately approved a revised IRP that incorporated those changes. And I will say that this is just night and day from where we were just 3 years ago. It is, I think, a testament to the focus of the utility, the active engagement of, as Commissioner Paratek mentioned, a broad range of stakeholders to bring forward an uncontested settlement that reflects, I think, a seismic amount of progress just in the last 3 years. The core of the integrated resource planning framework that was put into statute by the legislature on a bipartisan basis in 2016 is focused ultimately on responsibly managing the ongoing energy transition in a way that maintains reliability and resource adequacy for Michigan customers, as well as the affordability of the energy mix. And when you look at the range of issues resolved by this settlement agreement, as well as the range of interveners who filed in support, including not just the company and our staff, but the Attorney General representing consumer interests, clean energy advocates, environmental advocates, labor voices, all agreeing to a framework that accelerates coal retirements, converts some existing coal resources to gas, significantly increases and accelerates renewable energy and storage, including increasing participation in the company's distributed generation program to 6%, maintains cost-effective energy waste reduction programs, provides support for low-income communities and individuals, and incorporates a mix of securitization and regulatory asset treatment for the outstanding balances that I think appropriately balances customer interests and affordability with the long-term financial health of the utility. This is a very strong settlement agreement and a very strong integrated resource plan, and I'm excited to have it in front of us today. So kudos to the many parties involved. I think this represents significant progress, and we'll continue from here. So with that, we will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Commissioner Carrion.
I abstain.
The motion carries by a unanimous vote of 2 commissioners. The order in case number U-21193 is approved. I recognize Mr. Renfro.
Item 4B3 is case numbers U-21225 et al., which involve a matter on the Commission's own motion to open a docket for load-serving entities in Michigan to file their capacity demonstrations as required by MCL 460.6W. The order before you accepts the Commission staff's March 24, 2023 capacity demonstration results report, closes the docket in case number U-21225, opens the docket in case number U-21393 for the purposes of receiving capacity demonstrations for the 2027-2028 planning year, and adopts the Commission staff's proposed capacity demonstration process and requirements document as revised and described in this order.
Thank you, Mr. Renfro. I move for the approval of the order in case numbers U-21225 et al.
I second the motion. Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Commissioner Carrion.
I abstain.
The motion carries by a unanimous vote of 2 commissioners. The order in case numbers U-21225 et al. is approved. I recognize Mr. Renfro.
Item 4B4 is case number U-21265, which involves an application filed by Upper Michigan Energy Resources Corporation for approval to implement a power supply cost recovery plan for the 12 months ending December 31st, 2023. The order before you approves a settlement agreement resolving all issues in the case.
Thank you, Mr. Renfro. I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21265.
I second the motion. Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Commissioner Carrion.
I abstain.
The motion carries by a unanimous vote of 2 commissioners. The order in case number U-21265 is approved. We've now reached the time reserved for members of the public to address the Commission. As mentioned in the notice for today's meeting, we'll take public comments in the following order. First, from individuals attending in person, and then from individuals participating remotely, either through Microsoft Teams or the phone, who have entered the speaker queue. Do we have any comment cards today? I don't believe so. Is anyone who's attending in person desiring to make public comment at this time? Okay, we'll now open it up to the public comments through the remote options, either through Microsoft Teams or the phone. Again, for individuals participating remotely by Microsoft Teams and who want to make a verbal comment, you may click on the raise hand button to be queued up for comment. When it is your turn to speak, please click on the mic button to unmute. Individuals participating through Microsoft Teams also have the option to turn on their camera. For individuals participating remotely by phone and who want to make a verbal comment, you may press *5 to be queued up for comment. When it is your turn to speak, press *6 to unmute. Again, both commenters through Microsoft Teams and on the phone are added to the same speaker queue. And as a reminder, this public comment period is for commissioners to listen to comments and concerns and not to answer specific questions. When providing comment, please indicate your name and where you live if you're willing to share, so that we have that for our records. And again, please limit comments to 1 per person and keep them brief, no longer than 3 minutes, so we have the chance to hear from all who would like to comment. Do we have anybody? We don't have anybody queued up, so that will conclude the public comment period of the meeting. A few announcements before we close. First, I think we're well aware of storm activity heading towards Michigan today. Encourage folks to be safe, stay at least 25 yards away from any downed power line. Assume that it is live. We want to avoid any tragic consequences. I know that the utility crews, the first responders will be out working to restore any power outages as soon as they safely can, with a prioritization of public safety. But again, stay well away from down power lines. If you need emergency assistance, call emergency personnel, and be safe. Second, we are seeing the highest temperatures and correspondingly the highest load on the system this week. And so we have been in active communications with the grid operators at both MISO and PJM around their planning and any contingencies that they have. So we are following that closely. It looks like it could be tight. I know MISO has issued a max gen alert for tomorrow and is looking at any additional steps that they may need to take, but we'll be in very active communication with the grid operators as we get to sort of record load for the year, at least on the system this week. And then finally, as I think most folks know, the Mid-America Regulatory Conference is hosting its 2023 annual conference August 6th through 9th in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We're excited to host this conference here in Pure, Michigan. And for more information, the website for the conference is marc-conference.org. Again, warm welcome to our friends from Nigeria. We are happy to have you here. And Commissioner Carrion or Commissioner Paratek, any additional announcements?
Nothing for me.
Okay. Well, that concludes today's meeting. The next regular commission meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, August 30th at 1:00 p.m. Is there a motion to adjourn, Commissioner Paratek?
I move to adjourn today's commission meeting.
I second the motion.
We'll now have a vote on the motion to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by unanimous vote. The meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everybody.